Hello again. Today I have a game with theme of information lead and also how to make use of it. Anyway, let's get to the game. As usual, first I like to look at opponent's win rate, and I wasn't intimidated by that. My setup is pretty unusual. I have a bomb right here, which might be useful at some point, and my marshal is pretty out of the game. Usually you want your marshal in the center or near your flag, but lately I've been experimenting with just playing without your marshal almost at all, until it would make a huge impact. Now I found a scout here and bomb here, also bomb here, which is pretty interesting because when you put scouts somewhere, you usually want to use them to actually scout something and then go after it with strong pieces. So this was pretty interesting. He's now playing in the center, so I expected a general or marshal somewhere over here. I don't know which one would be which, but I knew one of them was somewhere over here. He allowed me to find out what this is, and I was already pretty certain it was a general or marshal, and there you go. Some of these players are a bit too predictable. He scouted my major, which isn't such a big deal because it's pretty deep in my territory, so he's probably not gonna go after it with his marshal, but he might go after it with his colonel to find intel. So I put some bluffing pieces around. I don't wanna use real pieces just yet, but soon enough I will use my spy for real. Attacked my major with his marshal, but since I was pretty unbothered about it, he let it go and instead scouted my captain. Right behind my captain is my spy, which is great. Now I will actually use it. At first I was playing with the idea of using my miner, but I figured there's a good chance he's gonna hit because he thinks that one of these two pieces are my spy. I wasn't really sure what to do, so I just allowed my room for a scout to go somewhere over here, and then I could bring there even the real marshal. Don't forget, this is his marshal, and one of these two pieces is probably a general or a colonel, because that's how they usually like to play. They wanna put all their strength in one center, in one point. Now this is known lieutenant, be sure to remember that, because what he's gonna do pretty soon is pretty interesting. He's thinking for a bit, doesn't really know what to do, but that's alright. He now moves this piece, which I expected to be a bomb that he would block off the side, but like this I can at least force it away with my major. And now I go in front with my lieutenant. He immediately, when it's in the range of attacking this piece, goes up with this piece. And it was a trait of lieutenants. You can try to think for a moment what does that tell you, because this is a relatively common pattern. If you still haven't found it, pause the video. If you found it, you can send it in the comments. But the thing is, this piece is probably eatable by my lieutenant, so it's probably just a sergeant or something lower. And there you have it. And the only reason you know it is because he tried to block it. Also, he probably doesn't have a captain anywhere near, because he would have brought it instead of the lieutenant. Maybe this might be like a really strong piece. I first wanted to try if actually nothing of this is gonna hit me, which happened, and then I found his colonel. So now I know that neither one of these pieces is problematic for my lieutenant. So I can probably send in even a sergeant to try find what it is. But one of them might be bomb, so I don't wanna load there. but it's just important to know that that neither one of them is gonna attack my lieutenant. Now I moved my scout. He thought that was bluffed strong piece, so he took it with his general, which is alright because now I can go in with my colonels. And yeah, so far I am in pretty good spot. As you can see by material, I am currently down a major or captain, but that's alright. I'm also down 2 lieutenants, but considering how much intel I got, it's not a problem at all. The thing about being up so much intel and your opponent not knowing your strong pieces, basically any one of them, means that you can get away with lots of bluffs. Now, he thinks this is a strong piece, especially since I try to hide it with my scout, so he's gonna respect it. We both are kinda low on scouts. I have 1, he has 2. And what I wanna get, the position I wanna be in, is one where neither one of us has scouts. Because then it's gonna be pretty hard for him to find out what my pieces are. And he's gonna then probably send miners, then probably sergeants and lieutenants, until he will be drained of all low pieces, because I will be able to expect what they are. Now, he thinks my miner is strong piece, so I try to bluff how much does he think this is a spy. He might also think this is the spy, but that's just unlikely. And he didn't hit it, which is great, because this tells me he's gonna trust basically all of my bluffs. He now goes after this piece. I decided to protect it with my colonel in a minute, because I figured it might be a captain, lieutenant, or something like that. As it turns out, it was just a miner. So we got a trade, which is ideal. He still doesn't understand what each one of these pieces is, so I can still get away with many bluffs. And now he scouts my miner. Again, he just doesn't understand what I'm doing, which is sign that I am not playing against strong opponent. Now here I wanted to move my general, but since I was already holding up the miner, I had to move that. That's unfortunate. But yeah, I'm gonna have to move my miner back in case he wanna scout that captain. Not that I don't want him to scout that captain, but it's just a statement. You don't want your opponent allowed to scout anything more than he already has, unless it benefits you. And here he scouted the miner again, so can complain with that. And he still has no idea to what I'm doing. Soon enough I'll be able to go with my general after this. Hopefully I will get that colonel and then trade. I saw one scenario in which it was possible in few moves, but it was too risky, and I will explain you why when we get there. I am still down that major and captain, which tells me that he doesn't want to use those pieces at all. He will first go with miners, then with sergeants, then with lieutenants, and slowly but surely he'll go up to the strong pieces. Since I already know his marshal and his general, I feel pretty safe. He now sacrifices his lieutenant, finds my colonel, which is alright because I can run away with both of these pieces. With this one I can use the 2 square rule, this one can be saved here. I wanna bluff that this is my marshal. Unfortunately he will see through that in couple minutes. Not really sure what to do, so I decided to go with my captain for these pieces. And one of them has moved. It's probably something low because he wants to know what this piece is. I will definitely not allow him to do that. But I will happily take it with my captain. And it was minor. I can expect 2 more of those, unless he has them over here. Not sure what this piece is doing. I think during the game I even forgot it has moved. But that's okay. My opponent now doesn't really know how to continue because he thinks somewhere over here is the spy and the marshal, which would be correct. But if he's not gonna go over here, is he gonna go all the way on the other side? That's just unlikely. I figured this was some kind of mid pieces, maybe a major or something. He didn't hit my general with it, which tells me it's probably a major or captain. But I figured I might get some more with my general before reveal. I thought this was a major, so I came up with my major, but when he went even lower, that told me, okay, that's not a major, so I can take it. And hella, it was another minor, as can be expected. One more minor, and then he's gonna start sending in sergeants. I still really want to get the colonel, but it's not as easy. He now will go down, I'll go down, he'll go down with his marshal, and I figured I could go with my spy for his marshal. He would have to take me. I would take his colonel, I'd be up a colonel. But the problem is he will go with marshal from the center. I will have to defend it with my marshal, so we will trade. He'll go with his general from the other side, and I will lose something. So that's why I didn't do it. I could potentially do that if I hadn't moved so many pieces, but that's just not the case in this position. I didn't think this was a colonel. I thought it was a major, captain or lieutenant, so I went after it with my major. I was pretty unbothered by his general coming from the left side. It can't really do anything over there. But this piece is pretty suspicious. It was right around his colonel and his general. So I thought, okay, that might be a spy. So let me slowly go up with my scout, and when the chance will be great, I will scout it. Also, he now gave me a free captain. Not really sure why. Maybe he just wanted to know what my general was, but it was pretty clear. It wouldn't have been a marshal because it would have been way too risky. It was pretty obvious it was just a general. And now I'm going up with my scout. Now here I decided to go up. The reason is if he would have gone with his colonel to trap my major, then the two of his pieces would be too much of a liability, and I could go after it with my marshal. Anyway, don't forget about this piece. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move my general, he's gonna move his marshal, and I'm gonna scout this piece. He now moved this piece, which was very interesting. And now, the moment he's gonna stop attacking me, I will scout this piece. And yes, as I expected, it was a spy. When you play against opponent that like marshal blitzing and doing some kind of weird strategy like that, you can pretty easily read them. Also, now I know both of his colonels, I know his marshal, and I know his general, so nothing can hurt me anymore. I should have gone down immediately with my general. I would be guaranteed to win one of his pieces, but I thought... I don't know what I thought. I just didn't do what I was supposed to do. I did do it now. Got a colonel and was happy with that. Also, my major over here is dead. Even if I will move aside, he's gonna go after it with his general. So, yeah, there was nothing I could do. We will probably trade here colonels if he will read me very well, which is what happened. But what I will get in return is trade of colonels, trade of generals, and I'll be left with my marshal against his marshal. But I have the spy, so I have way better chances of winning that game. I went up with my colonel because that's the move I will want to play at some point anyway. And I also wanted him to hit my other colonel with general, so I could hit that with my marshal, but that didn't happen. Anyway, he now is up 2 majors, but I am up a colonel, captain, lieutenant, and 3 surgeons and also 3 miners. So this game is basically finished. Now I can't really get this captain if he will use the 3 square rule, but since I played against pretty weak opponent, I figured he will not understand that rule or maybe not even know it. So I'll get that piece, and it was another captain. So now I am up 2 captains even. And since he gave me even his last captain, I am now up 3 captains and he could already resign. Which is what happened. Anyway, the lesson from this video is that when you're up lots of intel, you just wanna bluff as much as is possible. Because your opponent will not be able to take the risk. And when you're playing even against weak players, such as my opponent this game, then they will be even too predictable and you can get nice reads on them, for example like I got on their spy. So that's all I have in this video. Hope you enjoyed it and you can leave the like if you'd like to.